Welcome back, Lexurious Fleet. In today's news, the 2022 Toyota Tundra has been spied again with some more details. Toyota is pushing forward with autonomous vehicles, and the Subaru Forester gets turbocharged once again. Guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about Japanese and Korean autos mainly, and I would love to get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year, so make sure to subscribe, hit the bell icon for more news updates and car reviews as well. Over at our neighbors, I was gonna say friends, because I don't really know them, but I'd like to be friends with them because they always have some really good content. Our guys over at TFL, this is their truck website, and their neighbors as well because they live in Colorado. I'm currently in Nebraska. But anyways, new 2022 Toyota Tundra prototype spied driving up Pikes Peak Mountain. So we'll look at the pictures first. It's really not gonna blow your mind. They look very similar to other spy shots we have, but they have additional information here. I just thought it was interesting that they have what looks like an Armada behind the Tundra. And we have more confirmation that we got these 6 lugs instead of the 5 lugs on the current. Now the cabin on the current Tundra is identical to this cabin. Now this is a placeholder model. They're testing powertrains, more than likely hybrid powertrains here at altitude, going uphill, things like that. Now this is on Pikes Peak Trail. That's where they do the hill climb every year, the racing hill climb time trial. And I love that the Land Cruiser is leading the way. Sandwiched between 2 heavy duty vehicles, I like that. Now, again, they have been camouflaging the rear end of these Tundras out in public quite heavily with these tassels going down. I don't think they want people to see what's going on underneath for suspension, drivetrain possibilities, which would include electrification. So let's get into the additional news that they're talking about. So they're saying that the unveil or the debut will happen in February 2021, possibly in a Super Bowl ad on February 7th, or at the 2021 Chicago Auto Show that's currently set for February 13th through 21st. Now, debut just means, in my opinion, they're just taking off the wraps of the design, maybe talking about powertrains a little bit. But I don't expect pricing or exact availability to be announced in February. But guys, we're getting close. That's only what, 3 months away? 4 months away? Something like that. I think it's November now, right? So now they expect standard twin turbo V6. That'd be the V35A FTS taken from the LS 500. Tuned a little bit differently. That produces 416 pound-feet of torque, 416 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque in the Lexus product. Now, when they're putting it in a truck, I would expect them to tune it more for torque. So they could boost it maybe even higher torque numbers, closer to 500 pound-feet of torque, and maybe they dial back the horsepower a little bit closer to 400. We'll go into my spreadsheet here in a little bit just to kind of see how these numbers match up. Now, more importantly, I feel, is this performance gas V6 with electric hybridization with 450 horsepower. They're also saying potentially 30 plus miles per gallon. The 450 horsepower is not hard to believe, as we'll find out in a second, but 30 plus miles per gallon, that's incredible. Now we know the new Sienna, it's not a light vehicle, that gets 36 miles per gallon. That's pretty nuts. But for a full-size heavy pickup truck to get 30 miles per gallon, that would be pretty incredible. That's all the information at TFL, so let's head on over to my spreadsheet and see how these numbers stack up with the numbers I've been hypothesizing for a while. So twin turbo V6, this is a base engine. Other markets are going to get potentially a diesel hybrid and a new diesel engine altogether. We're not going to talk about that much today. 400 horsepower, 450 pound-feet of torque. Now, those numbers could be changing. That's pretty conservative numbers that I'm estimating for the twin turbo V6. For some markets with the TNGF platform, because the Tundra is going to be on a new platform, TNGF shared with the Hilux, the Fortuner, the 4Runner. I think there's a minivan out there as well we don't get here in the United States as it could share with the Sequoia, the Tacoma. Did I say the 4Runner already? The Land Cruiser, the LX. So yeah, big platform, lots of products underneath of it, and those products could use a V6 hybrid without turbos. And this would be very similar to the hybrid setup we see in the LS500H and the LC500H with a 295 horsepower gasoline engine mated with 177 horsepower from 2 electric motors in that setup. It could be a little bit different with this different transmission, a little bit heavier duty hybrid setup, 369 pound-feet of torque, and it would get pretty darn good fuel economy. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know if they would even offer that in America. It's a possibility. More than likely, we would see that sort of non-turbo V6 hybrid in, let's say, the upcoming 4Runner and Tacoma. So a little bit smaller vehicles. And the turbo V6 hybrid would be the range topper for the Tundra. Same engine, twin turbo V6, a little bit more higher output electric motors, or maybe a little bit larger battery to supply those motors as well. And I was estimating about 470 horsepower. TFL's hearing a little bit more conservative, 450 horsepower. Again, this is all unofficial information. Grains of salt is probably needed, but keep that in mind that their electrification is definitely capable of mid fours, upper fours with immense amounts of torque, well over 500 pound-feet of torque. So really, really exciting. I can't wait for the new Tundra. We've been waiting since 2007 for it. And yes, could they plug it hybrided and give it a twin turbo V8? Yes, I'm not gonna go down that route. You can definitely look at my spreadsheet if you're curious, but we need to keep moving. Can't wait to see in the comments on more Tundra information, 450 horsepower, 300 miles, 30 miles per gallon, and availability, at least unveiling in early February. That's something I hadn't heard, so that's exciting. We're getting closer. Let's hold out a little bit further. Over at Japan today, Japan to boost support for next generation EV development, or I should say EV battery development. We have seen the Japanese government and Toyota go really, really hard when it comes to fuel cell electric vehicles. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just we need to figure out the infrastructure situation before we can mass adopt fuel cells. But batteries, they're going hard with Panasonic here. And they say even Honda and General Motors, of course, are working together. But the Japanese government is going to be boosting funds for electric battery development. So I just thought that was interesting. Feel free to click the link in the description if you want to read more about it. Over at Yellowhammer News, Alabama News Center, Alabama's Mazda Toyota manufacturing reveals new logo, updates plant progress. This is a shared plant, obviously, Toyota, Mazda. Interesting vehicles could come out of here. We don't know. All we know is more than likely they're going to be crossovers. And potentially totally different crossovers. They're just sharing plant, cutting costs. Now Toyota already owns a pretty good stake of Mazda, but different production lines for different vehicles, what I've heard. My gut feeling is that it's going to be the Corolla Cross coming out of this on the Toyota side. Don't really know what would be coming out on the Mazda side. I'll see you guys in the comments what you think would come out of the Mazda side of this plant, but they do have a new logo, and this is what it is. You see two M's for Mazda manufacturing and a big T in the middle for Toyota manufacturing, but feel free to read how symbolic this entire logo is. Leave it up to the Japanese to come up with very symbolic logos. The Toyota logo is cryptic, lots of information inside the Toyota logo itself, but this Mazda Toyota manufacturing plant also has their very cryptic, very hieroglyph-like meaning to their new logo. Over at Automotive News, Toyota's engineers sandbox for serious business of AV testing. EV is for electric vehicle, AV is for autonomous vehicle. I'm scared to death of autonomous vehicles for lots of reasons. Safety is a part of it. Governments and companies can hack into your car with that, override your car and self-drive for you. That kind of scares the crap out of me. But I still got to talk about it because that's where the industry's going. Now they're testing it in Ottawa Lake, Michigan, I should say. We would have seen Toyota's first autonomous vehicles at the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. That never happened. We will see them next year. It gives them more time to work on that autonomous vehicle technology. But I would say they're pretty far along if they were going to be shuttling athletes in autonomous vehicles this past summer. Give it another year, they'll have even a more ironed out system. This Ottawa Lake facility provides a place where we could validate all the features and capabilities before we are able to test them on public roads, so we could make sure everything is safe, in theory. So this Toyota testing area opened in October of 2018, so 2 years ago, on a 320-acre test facility. Has a 2-mile concrete track. Surrounded by large earthen berms, test roadways and intersections have been painted on the asphalt to simulate real world driving conditions. Half of the asphalt is US specification roads and the other half is Japanese specification roads. Now, Toyota is developing a pair of automated driving technologies. One called Guardian works in concert with the driver to enhance their capabilities, a little bit cyborg-like. The other, Chauffeur, is focused on full autonomy where the human driver can be replaced depending on the terrain. Level 4, again, Level 4 Chauffeur-equipped vehicles were going to be on display in Tokyo during the Olympics. And they will be on display in the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. Guys, what are your takes on autonomy? Are you excited about it? Do you think it will usher in an era of new possibilities for mankind? Or could it be the flip side, where it could really hamper our freedoms and safety as well? I don't know. Don't know. Scares the daylights out of me though. Keep moving here. Over the global Toyota newsroom, the Toyota Crown, which should have been brought to the United States as a replacement for the Lexus GS or just rebadged as a Lexus GS, but nope, it killed the car. But Toyota Crown still goes on the TNGA N platform, I believe. They've adopted interior and exterior enhancements and textures for the Crown. So you get leather seats for the RS Advance 4G, and G4 expansion. They get a 12.3 touch screen wide display. That's going to be the same touch screen we see in a lot of Toyota and Lexus products. The Lexus RX comes to mind. The Toyota Venza and the Highlander all have that 12-inch touchscreen. So we have some new colors: Precious White Pearl, Precious Metal. They like their precious colors over there. And 3 new exterior colors of Emotional Red. 2 have been adopted. Some safety updates, but looking at the prices here, probably starting around $45,000, topping off around $70,000. And if you're unfamiliar with the Crown, let's just look at some of the pictures because it's a really good looking vehicle. In this platform, they use this hybrid powertrain, the V6 hybrid powertrain with 354 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque in their range topper. Man, that screen is massive. It sticks out like a sore thumb. I feel like it's going to take up some of your view. I know it won't, but from this angle, it looks like it's cutting into your visibility there. It looks a little bit more tasteful in this scenario with the caramel interior. Not my cup of tea, but they're okay. And here are the new colors: the Precious White Pearl, the Precious Metal, and Emotional Red 2. They don't look, I mean, pictures aren't going to do paint justice, they never do. You have to see it in person to really tell the difference, but I guess it's exciting in some ways. It's just disappointing we don't get the Crown as a Lexus GS here in America. So moving forward, a CarBuzz 2021 Q60 from Infiniti is more expensive than last year. Not by much though. It's only a $300 difference from last year. There are 2 new exterior color options: Grand Blue and Slate Gray. Rain sensing wipers are now standard on all trim levels, and that's it. The CarBuzz saying that's about it. That's for the new standard features of the new updates, but they have rearranged the packaging a little bit. They have 3 packages now. The 2021 Q60 Pure package brings up kind of like the base package. Next up is the Luxe, which starts at $50K. And then there's an additional package called the Essential package, which includes advanced climate control navigation with lane guidance and power tilt and telescoping steering wheel. I feel like those things should be standard. That's inexcusable in my opinion. Blind spot warning and lane departure warning should be standard as well. Again, those are found in the Essential package. Essential package to me is more like a safety package with some steering wheel tilting that should have been available standard. Just drives me nuts how certain companies feel like they can get away with charging for that. You look at Lexus, those things are pretty much standard on every single vehicle now. So, and here's the beautiful interior, not so beautiful, looks super dated. Doesn't look very good in my opinion. I do like the carbon fiber touches in the Red Sport, but Q60 they're saying might not be around for another year. This could be the last year for the Q60, which is a bummer. I really love the looks of it. I like having Japanese coupes available. But ever since the G35 and the G37, I feel like the Q60 looks incredible, but it hasn't really captured the specialness of those coupes that we had a few years back. And lastly, over at Motor Trend, the Subaru Forester is getting a new 1.8 liter turbo engine, at least in Japan, where the car is getting an engine, hasn't been used in any American product yet. they will eventually have to bring it to America as emission standards and regulations clamp down on it. Instead, we'll continue to get the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine here, which has a more horsepower than this 1.8 liter, but definitely not the same amount of engine response or torque. Now, this doesn't come close to the 250 horsepower turbocharged flat 4 that we got in years past for the Subaru Forester XT. I think I reviewed that back in the day when I started this channel. So I'll try to put that in a card if you guys want to watch that. Forgive me of my poor quality back then, but we all come from, you know, humble beginnings. But yeah, definitely check out that review. We see this turbocharged, small turbocharged engine in the Lavorg. Again, we don't get that in the United States. It's kind of a wagon. So it makes 175 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque, and if we compare to the naturally aspirated, 182 horsepower and a meager 176 pound-feet of torque. But would you guys rather have the naturally aspirated 2.5 liter, a little bit more peaky, not quite as much torque, or would you have hold on a sec. Goldie just woke up from her nap. She was napping up here while I was doing my video. But would you rather have the turbocharged 1.8 liter, more torque, a little bit less horsepower, more maintenance costs, things like that, or would you rather have the naturally aspirated 2.5 liter Boxer 4, going to be more reliable, easier to maintain, and less expensive to maintain and own as well? So guys, I'll see you in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Probably the most exciting news for me is the developing stories and spy shots that we get of the 2022 Tundra, and thanks so much for TFL for putting that information out there for us to enjoy and talk about. I'll see you guys in the comments. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you're not, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a wonderful day, take care of yourselves, and peace out.